Welcome here, everyone. My name is Zach Bodner, and I've been close to the family for over a decade. And like you, when my wife Renee and I heard this news, we were devastated. And in moments like this, you can't help but challenge God and ask and wonder how a merciful, loving God can allow something like this to happen to a beautiful, beautiful young woman like Whitney. But Judaism doesn't ask us to explain the tragedy. And today is not about explaining this tragedy. Instead, today is a time for us to come together to remember Whitney. It's a time for us to come together and celebrate and give thanks for her incredible life. And it's a promise to one another that we will keep her memory alive and keep this incredible woman in our minds forever. Judaism teaches that everyone, every human being is created b'tselem Elohim, in the image of God, which means every life is special, is sacred, is unique. So when someone passes away, the world is forever changed. There will never be another person like that, and the world will forever be altered. This is a difficult thing for any of us to hold on to. So today, Derek and I, we're going to help guide us, this community, this kahila, this extended family, going to help guide us through our pain as we remember, as we celebrate a daughter, a sister, a friend, a granddaughter, someone whose life was taken way too early, but whose life mattered very, very deeply. Derek.
Isn't this a beautiful place and a beautiful setting for us to come together on behalf of our loved ones and Whitney and her family? Right now, we're going to do the lighting of the memorial candle. In the Jewish tradition, the soul of a person is compared to a flame. At this point in time, I would like to have Mark, Jen, Venetia, Haley, and Makoa come up and please light this flame. The soul of a person is a lamp of God. Let Whitney's light pass through all of us today and always.
So there's a reading that's often done in memorial services that may be familiar to many of you. It comes from the book of Ecclesiastes. For everything, there is a season, and a time for every purpose under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance. This is one of the beautiful lessons in Judaism, elu ve'elu, which means this and that. Both things can be true at the same time. It can be hard to hold this juxtaposition in our hands simultaneously, joy and pain. But this is what we are taught. This is why in a Jewish wedding, we break a glass, because even in our most joyful moments, we know that the world is imperfect. We know that there's brokenness, and we have to be able to hold both of these truths in our hands at the same time. So today, we're going to try and do that. We're going to try to recognize that this is a moment to celebrate Whitney's incredible life, and we're going to grieve together. It's not easy to do these things, but this is what the family's asked for, to be able to remember her in this way. Here's the thing. There's this saying amongst the Jewish people when somebody passes away, you say, let their memory be forever a blessing. Because memory is an active thing. It's not passive. To remember someone is to keep bringing their goodness into the world. Every time we tell one of Whitney's stories, every time we laugh at something she would have laughed at, every time we choose kindness because she taught us kindness, we're allowing her life to ripple outward. Love doesn't end at death. It changes form. It turns into memory. It turns into gratitude. It turns into responsibility. So our tradition says when we speak the name of someone who's passed away, we say, let their memory be forever a blessing. So I want to say together Whitney's name, and I want us to say this blessing together. So as we say Whitney, let us say together, let her memory forever be a blessing. I invite Derek to come up and help as family and friends come and share some memories.
When I heard the news, to be honest with you, this is where I wanted to be right here and right now. To be with all of you, all together. This is how we gain strength. All of our love and attention is on Whitney and her family. Whitney was a beautiful, beautiful woman. Even though throughout all the years that I would see Whitney at occasions, elder events, I can tell you that Whitney, throughout the years, grew into a beautiful woman every time I saw her. I remember when she was younger, when she came to the house, and Whitney was highly intelligent, beautiful, athletic. And I remember walking into my foyer at a 2-story balcony staircase. And I look up and there Whitney is in a cast with one hand leaning over the balcony. I had no idea what we were going to do about that situation. I didn't know to say, come down, stay there. Luckily, I waited for about 5 minutes until Mark came in, and Mark goes, Whitney, get down. And with that being said, Whitney just looked and said, like, what's the big deal? And then she came down. I can tell that was something that Whitney would do often. Whitney did what she wanted to do at all times. She is going to be missed. She is a beautiful lady. And I remember the last time we were all together for a wonderful Felder Allen engagement. And I spoke with her late at night. And I saw how beautiful she was and how proud we were of her. And I told her all these great things about herself. And I remember looking at me saying, are you talking about me? And she had a great difficulty accepting how great she was. But what makes me feel so good about this in this moment is now she understands. She understands how much she meant to us. Though she was here for 22 years, she's going to be with us forever. And at this point in time, what I'd like to do is call Mark up to say some words.
Hi, I'm Mark, Whitney's dad. Thank you all for being here, in person and online. I've had a tsunami of thoughts and emotions. This past week, and one thought keeps coming, keeping me centered. Whitney, I'm so blessed to have you in my life. We are so blessed to have you in our lives. Mm. 22 years on this earth and forevermore in our hearts. I cherish every moment we had together, every one. Some of you knew Whitney as the girl who made you laugh. Some of you knew the fearless one in the pool. the kind friend, the entertainer. Some of you knew the driven one, who gave everything she had, all the way, who never did a single thing halfway in her life. All of you felt the tender one, the loving one. I knew all of those Whitneys. The one I want to start with today is Whitney, my adventure buddy. Let's start from the beginning. Whitney was climbing before she could walk. Literally. I put her in a chest harness, put her on a climbing wall. She climbed up the wall before she could walk. When she was little, Jen and I baby-proofed the house because she wanted to get into everything. We baby-proofed every cabinet, every outlet, every lamp, corner of every table. We put one of those baby gates across the bottom of the stairs. One evening when we were sitting in the living room, all of a sudden we realized the house had gone quiet. Where was Whitney? She was gone. We jumped up and went tearing through the house looking for her, frightened, calling her name. And then we looked up. She hadn't gone through the gate, she'd gone over it. She'd climbed the entire outside of the staircase railing, hand over hand, all the way to the second floor. And there she was, our baby perched at the very top on the outer railing, looking down at us with a giant grin on her face. Like she'd just accomplished something, like she'd found her own way up. Hold on to that grin. As I saw it again, 2 years later. Two weeks ago, Whitney and I summited Mount Whitney together, one of her life goals. 22 miles, 7,000 vertical feet. Before we went, I gave her a choice. We could break up the hike, camp partway, take 2 or 3 days, summit on the second morning, do it the way most people do. Or we could do it in a single push, one day, which meant getting up at 2:30 in the morning. And in true Whitney style, she chose the single push. Of course she did. Up at 2:30, hiking into the dark, all the way to the top, where she signed the guest book, thanking them for naming the mountain after her. We finally got back to the car just at sunset at 8:30 p.m. There was never really any question. On the way up, there's an infamous stretch of that trail called the 99 switchbacks. 99 of them zigging up the mountain. Because that's how you gain that much elevation. But not for Whitney. Whitney looked at the switchbacks and she just decided to march straight up through the boulders. Straight up. Why take 99 turns when you can go directly at the thing? On the way down, we found a shortcut. She called it chutes and ladders. Instead of the switchbacks, again, we glissaded, which is a fancy word for sliding down the mountain on your backside, using our hiking poles to brake. The two of us sliding down Mount Whitney, laughing. At the top, 14,500 feet, the highest point in the lower 48 states. She turned around and she gave me that grin. Same grin on the top of the stairs. One that says, I found my way here. Dad, did you see it? I saw you, Whitney. I always saw you. I will always see you. That was my girl. my adventure buddy, up for anything, always pushing herself to be the best, to be the first, to win at everything she did. And it wasn't just that mountain. A couple of summers ago, she came and did an internship with me learning AI. And at the same time, she took an online calculus course that she needed so that she could complete a double major in business analytics and marketing at University of Miami. When she got back to school that fall, she told me that Miami just created a new AI and business technology program. It was a minor, and she was going to add that on top of her 2 majors. She graduated magna cum laude in 4 years. Of course, she did it all at once. First in, all the way through, at the front of something brand new. That was Whitney, always straight up through the boulders. Whitney was also a writer, and she left us her words. I want you to hear her own voice for a moment. She wrote this poem when she was a senior in high school. It's called Hello. Hello, welcome to Earth, says an emotionless voice, echoing from the speaker hidden in an unknown place. Learn from your mistakes. Look around and make a choice. Live the way you always have or reach beyond the stars. Oh shit, I'm not going to Mars. That was Whitney to her core, a big cosmic question about how to live, a joke to help make us smile. I read this for the first time this past week and understood her at a whole new level, helping to put her life and death into perspective. Whitney is beyond the stars now, where she always reached. But her death was preventable. Her poem says it, learn from your mistakes. And that's exactly what I'm begging all of us to do now. I'm sharing her words with you because I hope that we can learn together. Whitney died from alcohol. I need to tell you what actually happened plainly because she'd want the truth and because the truth might protect someone in this room. The night she died, her boyfriend Aiden called me. He did the right thing. He picked up the phone and told me she'd been drinking, that she was upset. She was clearly drunk, but she calmed down in a bit after talking. And I told him and I told her to let her sleep it off. Sleep it off. God, I wish I could take back those words. Here's what I didn't understand that night, and what I need every one of you to know. Your body keeps absorbing alcohol after you lie down, after you fall asleep. Passing out is not safety. Someone who seems fine, who's just resting, who's sleeping peacefully can stop breathing. So if a friend has had too much, do not leave them to sleep it off. Stay with them. If something feels wrong, call for help. Call anyone. Call me. And if you will never, I want you to know, ever be wrong for making that call. I have to be honest about one more thing because this is the part that might save a life. This was not the first time. My daughter had a problem with alcohol. It's not a weakness, it's not a character flaw, it's a disease. And it hides behind the person who looks like she has everything handled. Whitney lit up every room she walked into. And she was fighting this the whole time. Both were true. And in the end, it took her life. So if you see this in yourself, if drinking has its hooks in you even a little, even in a way no one else has noticed, you're not weak, you're not alone. There's help and it works. Reach for it. Reach for me. I will help you. If you see it in someone you love, do not look away and do not wait for a better moment. There isn't one. Say something. Get them help. It's the bravest, most loving thing you will ever do. I couldn't bear to have alcohol here today, and I hope you understand why. Now, the most important thing I have to say, if you are close to Whitney and you've lain awake even once wondering whether you could have done something, hear me. That weight is not yours to carry. Nothing we say or do can bring her back. And while she is gone, I will not let the people she loved spend their lives blaming themselves for the way she left. She wouldn't stand for it. You know she would. The only thing she'd ever ask you to carry is her love. So set the rest down right here, right now, and carry her love instead. If one good thing can come from losing Whitney, let it be that someone in this room makes a different choice or finds the help they need and lives. That's my whole sermon. I feel Whitney right now rolling her eyes at me, so I'll get back to her. I wrote this poem for Whitney. Before the medals, before the summit and the summit after that, before the double major and the minor and the calculus you taught yourself to just carry more, before magna cum laude, before the first class ever to walk that stage, before any of it, you were already the whole of you. You did not need the height to be tall. You did not need the prize to be the prize. You never needed one single thing added to you, poured into you, or proven to be exactly, entirely, completely enough. You were the brightest one in every room with nothing in your hand but your own light. So hear this wherever you are now, hear this truth. You are enough. You are perfect. Nothing to add, nothing to fix, nothing missing, just you, always, already, forever, perfect. And now let me get back to telling you about the Whitney I got to be the father of. She noticed people. She noticed you. She could tell from clear across a crowded room when something was wrong with you. And here's the part that made her rare. She'd actually do something about it. She'd come find you. She made whoever she was with feel like they mattered the most in the world. That's the first thing, the truest thing. I'll always remember about my daughter, not the summits, the degree, the medals, the way she made people feel loved.
Huh.
In the days since we lost her, I went looking, searching for her spirit everywhere. And I read about what her name actually means. I want to share it because it gives me comfort. Jen and I named her Whitney because we thought it was a beautiful name and she wore it perfectly. I learned this week that the name Whitney comes from Old English and it means from the White Island. And her name carries a few ideas inside it. The white is light, purity, clarity, a clean slate, the presence of light, and that was her. She walked into a room and the room got brighter. The island is a sanctuary, a safe haven, a place of peace, a refuge from the chaos. And if you ever needed somewhere to land, you already know that's exactly what Whitney was. She was the safe place. She noticed when you were going under, and she became your island. And underneath the name, tied to an old river in England, is water, emotion, intuition, the things that run deep. Our water polo player, our surfer, our girl who loved the ocean and the lakes and the pools. There's one more, and this is the one that got me. They say her name carries the energy of a soul that craves freedom and adventure, a soul whose whole path in this life is to live it fully, to keep transforming and to find what's true by going out into the world and experiencing all of it. When I read that, I thought, this is my daughter. Light, a sanctuary for the people she loved. Water, a soul built for freedom, for adventure, for going out into the wide world to find what's true. Her name was the whole map of her, written before she ever took a step, and it tells me exactly what to do now. We had so much left to do. We'd already started planning the next summit. We were going to climb Kilimanjaro together, the roof of Africa. She wanted to go to Israel. Well, to be fair, that one she was going to do without me. There was so much more we hadn't even planned yet. Summits we hadn't reached, oceans we hadn't swum, a whole life of adventures still on our list. We don't get to do those now. I would be lying if I said that didn't break my heart. In a way I don't have words for it. Here's what I've decided. I'm going to take you with me anyway, Whit. I am going to carry you to the mountains, to the water, to the far corners of the world you love so much. Every summit we never reached, the adventures we missed, I'm going to go on them still, and you'll be there with me for every single one. You're now my adventure spirit. That doesn't end, not ever. I ask all of you to take her on your adventures too. I want to share one more thing, something I've come to learn on my own spiritual journey that became far more real for me this week than ever before. I believe that we exist in this life for just an instant in the eternity of time. A flash. We tell ourselves we have all the time in the world, but the truth is that every one of us is here for what amounts to just a moment. Whitney's moment was shorter than it ever should have been, far shorter, but it was no less complete for being short. Because in her one short moment, Whitney did the most important thing a human being can do, and she did it more fully than almost anyone I've ever known. She loved people. Every single one of you is here because at some point Whitney made you feel loved.
Cool.
And because I believe love is the only thing that lasts, I want to tell you what we're doing to keep Whitney's love alive in the world. Whitney found so much of herself at the University of Miami, in her friends, her professors, and in something almost no other school does, in trust of its students with AI. To be clear, AI was not Whitney's identity and it wasn't her calling. It was a tool, and she used it like a superpower. Not a crutch, not a shortcut. It didn't make her who she was. It magnified who she already was. After her AI internship with me, she told me school had never been easier. A double major, a minor, and never once after that less than a high A. The summer before her senior year, she did an internship at Royal Caribbean. They told her that she was producing work like someone who'd been there for 10 years. Again, thanks to her AI skills. They offered her a full-time job. She said yes, she was going to start there next month. I teach people to use AI for a living because I believe that it's an incredible fast way for all of us to prosper. I know what these tools can do, and I got to witness how these tools empowered Whitney, how it showed her how capable she really was. Miami is one of the few schools brave enough to trust its students with AI instead of teaching them to fear it and not allowing them to use it. Whitney came alive there because of it. So in her name, our family is creating the Whitney Allen AI Scholarship Program at the University of Miami Herbert Business School. We're creating this program to last forever. Not a one-time gift that gets spent and is gone. A permanent endowment, invested, paying out a scholarship every single year, which means our gifts won't get used up. It's a gift of caring for a student, and then another, and then another, every year For as long as that university stands, there will be a Whitney Allen scholar, someone who gets a boost, someone who gets love because of her. Another little Whitney story. When she was very small, she was in Girl Scouts. And we went around the neighborhood selling Girl Scout cookies. And when somebody didn't want a cookie, a box of cookies, she would say in her cutest face and cutest voice, "Would you like to give a gift of caring?" And I can tell you, there was not a single house in the neighborhood that could turn her down. So many of you have asked how you can do something for Whitney. This is one way how. I welcome you to all join me in creating this fund. The details are on the back of the program and online. What a gift of love. Thank you for that, truly. I also want to be clear that the gift she'd cared about most is the one I already asked you for. Take care of each other. Make the brave choice. Take care of yourself. Be the island for someone. In closing, we're so blessed by the love Whitney gave us. That is what I've come to understand. I used to believe a life was measured by what it built, what it won. I don't believe that anymore. I've learned it the hard way these last days. I'd give anything not to have learned it, but here it is. The only thing I'm sure of now. Everything fades, everything. The metals tarnish. The summits forget our footprints. The buildings come down, the names wear off the stone. Only one thing outlives us. Only one thing refuses to end, and it's love. My daughter had one short moment with us, and she spent the whole of it loving people. Noticing them, crossing rooms for them, making each one feel held, feel chosen, feel enough. It poured out of her. It showed. And love like that does not die. It can't. It's the one thing that can't. It did not end on June 21st. It's in this room right now. It's reverberating across the world to everyone online. Please take a moment to feel that love, resonate with it, amplify it. It will keep going in every one of us, in everyone we love after this, on and on, I believe, for all of eternity. So we will not say she is gone. We will say she got there first. And she is, even now, still loving us forward, straight up through the boulders, still pulling up the rest of us behind her. Thank you.
I'd like to have Venetia come up on this.
Mark just spoke of love as one of the things that outlives us. There are some words written a very long time ago that they say is better than any of us could. If I speak in the tongues of men and of angels, but have not love, I am a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. And if I have prophetic powers and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have all faith so as to remove mountains, but I have no love, I am nothing. Love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, and endures all things. Love never ends. So now faith, hope, and love abide. These three. But the greatest of these three is love.
Beautiful. I'd like to have Jennifer, Whitney's mother.
Mike.
He's gonna take a breath. Feel all of this loving energy. This is such a amazing community we built. I feel you. And I have something that I'm going to share, but I'm just in this moment, just want to thank all of you. We're so blessed. Thank you. Thank you from my heart. I'm going to close my eyes and I'm going to breathe and I'm going to center myself. And I invite all of you to find that peace. Okay, let's do it together. I'm going to close my eyes now. Okay, I'm ready. I'm reading it here because if the font size is bigger, then I can see it. The gift of this moment. The Buddha taught us that everything we cherish is constantly changing. At first, this truth can break our hearts, but with time, it opens them. We begin to understand that nothing is meant to be possessed. Everything is meant to be appreciated. A life is not diminished because it ends. A song is no less beautiful because it has a final note. A sunset is no less breathtaking because darkness follows. A flower is no less exquisite because its petals fall. So too with a human life. We remember not how it lasted, how long it lasted, but how deeply it loved, how generously it gave, and how it profoundly changed us. Dearest Whitney, thank you for the immeasurable gift of your life. We will carry your laughter, your kindness, and your love with us always. We release you with open hearts, trusting that wherever your journey continues, You are held in boundless compassion. Breathe. Until we meet again, may you be peaceful. May you be free. And may you be joyous forever and ever. Amen. Thank you. I love and appreciate all of you.
Absolutely beautiful words. Thank you. Haley, like to come up and. Yes.
Breathing.
I'm reading one of Whitney's poems. And just bear with me, guys. Whitney wrote poetry. This one is called Blind Beauty. I read it as Whitney writing about herself because every one of us knows she was strikingly beautiful inside and out. The hardest part to believe is that she didn't always feel that way. So as you listen, see her the way she deserved to be seen, the way we all see her. Blind beauty. She is as beautiful as fresh flowers, but no one told her that before. Her voice soothes like honey and milk, but she stumbles when she speaks. Her eyes are bluer than the ocean, but they'll avoid yours like the plague. She thinks that she's a waste of space, but I know that she's perfect. Whitney was perfect. We saw it. We always saw it. And I just wanted to say, I'm not good with my words, but my proudest moment in life was being Whitney's sister. I'm so grateful that I got to experience what it was like to have a sister for 22 years and to be so close to her. She was my best friend. I admired her so much. I hope I can honor her by being a little more like her. And yeah, thank you guys.
The words. I'd like to call Monica, Whitney's aunt. Finally taller than somebody here.
So. Not my.
This is a poem by Linda Ellis. It's called Dash. Just do what you did. Just close your eyes for a second. Okay. I read of a man who stood to speak at the funeral of a friend. He referred to the dates on the tombstone from the beginning to the end. He noted that first came the date of birth and spoke the following date with tears. But he said what mattered most. What mattered most of all was the dash between those years. But the dash represents all the time they spent alive on Earth. And now only those who love them
know what that little line is worth. For it matters not how much we own, the cars, the house, the cash. And what matters is how we live and love and how we spend our dash. So think about this long and hard. Are there things you'd like to change? For you never know how much time is left that can still be rearranged. If we could just slow down enough to consider what's true and real, and always try to understand the way other people feel. Be less quick to anger and show appreciation more, and love the people in our lives like we've never loved before. If we treat each other with respect and more often wear a smile, remembering this special dash may only last a little while. Thank you. Nope. Sorry.
A little disrespectful with the microphone. Now I'd like to introduce Makoa, aka Mac, Whitney's brother.
So I'll start off by I'll read this as a reminder of what Whitney would want. These words name the choice in front of all of us. You can shed tears that she is gone, or you can smile because she has lived. You can close your eyes and pray that she will come back, or you can open your eyes and see all that she has left. Your heart can be empty because you can't see her, or you can be full of love that you have shared. You can turn your back on tomorrow and live yesterday, or you can be happy for tomorrow because of yesterday. You can remember her and only that she is gone, or you can cherish her memory and let it live on. You can cry and close your mind, be empty and turn your back, or you can do what she would want. Smile, open your eyes, love, and go on. Whitney and I, we had a complicated relationship growing up, all bickering, typical sibling stuff. But as much as she would get on my nerves at times, I was always there for that big brother advice, and I love that too. Just being able to do that and feel that sort of come out in myself, And I didn't have a father who's there as a kid, so I look at Mark as my father. So Haley and Whitney, they're like, I look at them as totally as my sisters. So. I enjoyed this. We didn't talk for a couple years for some dumb reasons, but past couple years, I'd randomly. I was afraid to talk to people for a little bit for some reasons, but I'd FaceTime Whitney on just randomly through the week, and she'd just tell me how when I moved to Miami, how much better my life is going to open up. The holes in my life that I wanted to fill, she gave me a lot of help. And how she'd be my guide in Miami on how to fill those holes in a way that was more helpful and helpful. But yeah, that's all I've got right now.
And that is more than enough. The family, it's very important for you to have the opportunity, if anyone at this point in time wants to come up and say anything, you're more than welcome to. Starting with the young grandmothers.
Can you introduce them?
Yes. Barbara and Carolyn.
We promised to support each other, and we've got our notes, and you can imagine why we need those notes right now. So I'll hold this for Barbara.
The Perseid meteor showers streak across the sky in late summer. If you can get away from city lights, stay up past midnight, and under a clear, cloudless sky, you'll be treated to hours of what are commonly called shooting stars. That was my granddaughter, Whitney. Whitney was a star blazing across the sky who never realized her true beauty and strengths. We envied the multitude of accomplishments that seemed effortless for her. An enthusiastic, active child, she wanted to explore everything around her, daring to jump off diving boards as soon as she could swim, mastering every piece of playground equipment and following big sister Haley's lead into sports such as soccer, gymnastics, and dance. Whitney's creativity and artistic talent soon became apparent in school, Sunday school, and at home. She loved to draw, paint, and design decorative art. I was never at a loss for birthday or Hanukkah gifts for Whitney. Any chalk, crayons, pens, notebooks, or craft materials would please her. Her bedroom quickly overflowed with those materials. Whitney's musical talent began with piano lessons, and she eventually played viola in the school orchestra. Still in elementary school, she joined the debate team, had a quick mind for the logic involved, and had the confidence to think and speak on her feet. It was no surprise to us when she and her debate partner won a first-place trophy in one of their tournaments. Most kids take 2 or 3 years to prepare for their bar or bat mitzvah. Whitney prepared for her bat mitzvah in 1 year, working remotely with a tutor to master the skills required to read from the Torah and comprehend her assigned parsha, which she performed perfectly at the ceremony. Next on the list of her achievements was to follow in her father's wake and become a star water polo player. The strength and stamina she showed was incredible, not to mention playing in all kinds of weather in water so chilly I wouldn't put my toes in. College came and went all too quickly, with Whitney earning a degree in marketing as one and academic honors of magna cum laude. She made it all look easy. Yes, it can be if one is gifted with Whitney's talents. My favorite mode of travel is by ship, so when Whitney interned with Royal Caribbean last summer, I was very excited. You can imagine how much more delighted and proud I was when Royal Caribbean realized her value and offered her a permanent position after graduation. I love that Whitney raved about my chili and brownies, but that is only a small part of the pleasurable memories I have as a witness to her all too short life. Her star streaked past us much too quickly. My darling girl, I thank you for those memories. You have left a huge void in our hearts.
For those of you who don't know me, my name is Carolyn Sahusky. And Whitney called me Tutu in the Hawaiian language, like grandparent. It was a very big blessing for my husband and I to be her step-grandparents. And I'm going to share a memory because we remember people by memories. So this is my memory of her. At a gathering, when someone mentioned that Whitney had been teaching herself to play the ukulele, she had never had taken a lesson. She had no music teacher. But for us to hear she can play ukulele, oh my God, that was something awesome. She had simply decided she wanted to learn. So she picked up the ukulele and taught herself. Naturally, we all asked if she would play something for us. She hesitated. She was nervous and a little bit embarrassed. She really did not enjoy to be the center of attraction. And that was so very Whitney. For someone who was so gifted, so adventurous, so talented, so intelligent, and so accomplished, She never seemed to realize just how remarkable she truly was. But she took a breath, stood up, and she began to play. Then she sang, and we were stunned. We didn't know she had the voice as she could play with the ukulele. So that was awesome. I never forgot that moment. The room became completely still. Her voice was beautiful, clear, gentle, heartfelt, and genuine. It wasn't just that she played the ukulele well. It was that she shared something so authentically from her heart that everyone listening could feel it. There are moments in life when time seems to pause because everyone realizes they are witnessing something truly special. That was one of those moments. And what touched me most was Whitney herself didn't seem to know how special she was. Looking back, I realized that that moment reflected the way she lived her entire life. Whether it was music, academics, athletics, climbing mountains, or pursuing new adventures, she approached life with courage, determination, and an open heart. She embraced each challenge with curiosity and with quiet confidence. But as impressive as all of those accomplishments were, they are not what I remember the most. What I remember is how Whitney made people feel. She made people feel seen. She made people feel welcome. She made people feel included. As a step-grandmother, I never felt like a step family. Whitney never saw these kinds of labels. She simply loved people. She welcomed us with warmth, kindness, genuine enthusiasm, making each of us feel that we belonged. She also carried herself with remarkable respect and grace. She treated others with kindness because that was who she was. And I know those beautiful qualities were nurtured by the people who loved her and raised her. Her parents, Mark and Jennifer. Her mother, Venetia. Her grandparents, George and Barbara. George and Maureen, sorry. And of course, Grandma Barbara. Their love and guidance were reflected in the compassionate young woman Whitney became. Although Whitney's life here was far too short, it was incredibly full. It was filled with music, filled with laughter, filled with adventure, filled with courage, and above all, filled with love. When I think of Whitney, I don't think about the mountains she climbed or many accomplishments she received. I pictured that young woman standing before our family with the ukulele in hand, just a little nervous, wonderfully humble, quietly brave, and sharing a gift she didn't even realize she possessed. She reminds me of that some of the most brightest lights never fully understand how brightly they shine. But those of us who are fortunate enough to know them certainly do. Whitney's beautiful light will continue to live on, not only in our memories, but in fact, every act of kindness we choose, every adventure we embrace, every song we sing, and every person we welcome with the same open heart she gave so freely. That is her legacy. And for that, we will be forever grateful. And now I'd like to say a little blessing for Whitney. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. The Lord look upon you kindly and give you peace. Amen. Sweet girl, we'll see you in our dreams. We'll be together again. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing those beautiful words. And is there anyone else who wants to come up at this point in time?
Hi, my name's Devin, and I'm one of Whitney's cousins, and this is my sister Danica. I'm using my phone because I didn't have time to write it down, but I would just like to start with I loved when Whitney and Haley would come visit. It was something I looked up forward to all the time, and me and my sister both just loved them very much. Okay, 1 second. Okay. Whitney has a special impact on every single person in this room, whether she's your daughter, your granddaughter, sister, cousin, best friend, childhood friend, roommate, or even if she's someone you briefly met. Whitney was the person that made every moment feel special and every memory last a lifetime. I think I can speak for everyone in this room when I say that there are endless special memories with Whitney, many so impactful that they will never be forgotten. I too have so many lasting impressions of Whitney that will forever remind me of her. I just want to share a couple of mine and my family's memories with Whitney, just to show how even some small conversations or experiences can later carry such heavy weight on you and how you remember the people around you. We as a family always loved when Whitney and her family visited us at the lake in Texas, or that one time where we went on a houseboat trip in Arkansas. Also, when they came to Costa Rica with us one summer and did endless activities with us. But something that never changed, no matter what we were doing or where we were meeting, the thing that actually never changed was the fact that Whitney always gave us the best hugs. Her hugs were full of love, and we will never forget the feeling of being loved and welcomed by Whitney. My sister shared some memories with me that I want to carry into this speech because they say everything about who Whitney was. We taught her how to surf on the lake we grew up on, and Whitney fell and she got back up. She then fell again, and then she also got back up again. With that same smile and confidence. She was determined to get up on the board. That was a lesson we all learned from Whitney at a young age. That's just who she was and everything she did. Whitney had a way of making ordinary moments feel like the best moments of your life. She held herself with a grace that lit up every room she walked into, and a sweetness that made everyone around her feel loved. Last night, we went down to the lobby of our hotel and we saw Uncle Mark. I met some of his friends and he told them, "Do you see the resemblance to Whitney?" And again today, before we came here, Whitney's friends all said how much I look like Whitney. These statements made me go back to when I was just a little kid. I remember talking to Whitney and she told me that we looked so alike in her baby pictures. She started showing me pictures of her when she was my age and pictures of her as a baby. I remember laughing with her and knowing Whitney, you know just how contagious her laugh is. It's a sound I'll never forget. I always thought she was so pretty inside and out, and I remember being so happy that she thought we had some resemblance. Being able to go back and think about a moment that seemed so small at the time and realize that it's the small moments with the ones you love that keep you close to them no matter the circumstances. I truly felt like I was with Whitney in that moment, and I hope anytime you need to feel like you're with her, you do something that reminds you of her. Think of those special moments you had together, and most of all, live your life with happiness, love, and make the most out of every moment. Or in better words, live your life how Whitney lived hers. And a little message to Whitney. Yes, Whitney, your little cousins in high school definitely think you're so cool, and we love you so much. Thank you.
What an amazing tribute. And I now have Whitney's other cousin, Maverick, who's going to come up here and tell you, first of all, it's his birthday today. So thank you for sharing your love with us. And here's Maverick.
Last time I saw Whitney was at a family gathering in Vermont a couple years ago. And there were a few things, but some of the things that I remember the most were we had a competition. It was, you had to guess who the person was based off their baby photos. And everyone had always said that we looked so similar. And then on that trip, we actually realized that more when both of the baby photos, one of me and one of her, were both of me. Throughout that trip, we started talking a lot more than we ever had before. And I remember something that she told me. I'm not sure how we got on the subject, but she said, when I die, the first thing I'm going to do is figure out how to haunt someone. And I'm going to go and change small things in everyone in our family's lives and in all of my friends' lives and see if they notice and try to slowly make them go mad. And that's the Whitney that I remember. Thank you.
Clearly the haunting thing she got from Mark. Seriously. With that being said, I'm going to read a poem that was written for Whitney. I am the water. Do not look for me beneath a stone. I was never good at holding still. I am the lake at first light, the flat silver of it before anyone wakes. I am the cold shock and then the ease when you finally let the water take your weight. I am the tide that goes out and back by morning. I always come back. That is the whole nature of water. I am the river that ran beneath the name, my name from the very beginning. And the rivers do not end. They only reach the sea. So when you swim this summer and the cool of it closes over your head, that is me. And the breath you come up grasping to find, that is me too. I am the pool and the current and the calm after it. I am the wave that knocks you over laughing, and then the hand that pulls you back up. I have not gone anywhere that you cannot follow. I have only become water now, and water always will return to where it is loved.
So in Judaism, we often say a person dies twice. The first time when they leave this world, and the second time when their name is spoken for the very last time. So we have all helped continue to keep Whitney alive, and we're going to do that into eternity. And I think part of that is also the blessing of the Whitney Allen AI Scholarship. So to the family for helping the memory stay alive, a huge thank you. The gratitude, it's flowing. I would like to invite Whitney's uncle, Lauren, up to share a reading. It's here. It's a reading that we're all going to partake in. So if you have your brochure, it's Psalm 23. Lauren.
Please read the responses with me. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want.
He
He restores my soul. He guides me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows.
Surely goodness and loving kindness shall follow me all the days of my life. I shall dwell in the house of the Lord.
And hearing all of you share these incredible memories of Whitney, I'm reminded of this Hasidic tale, the story of this Rabbi Zusha, who said that when he passes away and he appears before God, God will not challenge him and ask him, why did you not live more like Moses? Or why did you not live more like Abraham? But why did you not live more like Zusha? Why are you not more like who you were meant to be? And in hearing these incredible stories of Whitney, it was clear she lived who she was meant to be. She lived the Whitney that she was meant to be. And she's lived an incredible life, albeit far too short, but so, so full with love and courage and beauty. And for that, we will continue to keep her blessing and her memory alive. So, a couple of prayers. I know many of you have been standing for more than an hour, and it's a little warm in here. As we come to the part of this service where there are some Jewish traditions, feel free to join in if you feel comfortable. Feel free to join in with your own notions of God, of divine providence, of the ultimate oneness of the universe, whatever language makes you feel comfortable, but know that we are all tied together. We are all one. And that's the piece of this that I want all of us to come away with. In moments of grief, the Jewish tradition also often has us beginning our prayers with the words, "May the one who blessed our ancestors," because it gives us some comfort to know that our ancestors were dealing with some similar challenges, and those who come after us will too. So to tie us to this lineage is sometimes an important salve, an important balm in these difficult times. So I'd like you to all turn to the first blessing on the first page called the Misha Berach blessing. If you can read the small words. This is the prayer to offer comfort to those who are grieving. Everyone here. So say together, may the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Sarah, Isaac, Rebecca, Jacob, Leah, and Rachel, bless and comfort this family. May they find strength in one another, support from amongst their friends, and moments of peace in the memories they carry. May the love that surrounds them today remain with them in the difficult days ahead. Amen. Next, we will ask God to gather Whitney's soul under the wings of this divine presence. It's a beautiful picture on the front of this when we think about the wings that Whitney carries. We will use her Hebrew name, Etaritza, as is the tradition. So this is also in your pamphlet. It's right below the Misha Berach. It's called El Malei Rachamim. Please join me in reading together. God, full of compassion, who dwells on high, grant perfect rest beneath the wings of your divine presence, among the holy and pure, who shine like the brightness of the heavens, to the soul of Whitney Allen, Etta Lightset, who's gone to eternity. In memory of her, may charity be given on behalf of her soul. May her resting place be in the Garden of Eden. Therefore, Master of mercy, shelter her beneath your wings forever. Bind her soul in the bond of eternal life. God is her inheritance, and may she rest in peace. Amen. So in the Jewish tradition, we conclude services, we conclude our daily prayers, we conclude anytime we are in a gathering like this with the mourner's Kaddish. Now, what's interesting is the mourner's Kaddish does not actually talk about death. It's a prayer that magnifies life and the holiness of life. So this is one more of these Elu ve'elu moments, that in this moment when we're grieving so much, we're meant to magnify life and the sacred and the holy moment and what we've all brought together. So if you're so inclined, I ask you to rise, if you're able to, and join me. I only say this prayer in Hebrew, but there's the English transliteration for everybody, and it's on the bottom of the back page here. There's a cadence to it, so if you're not familiar with it, try to keep up. If not, that's okay. But let's join together. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'yamad divrach yerotei v'yamlik malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chal beit Yisrael, v'agala u'vizman kari v'imru Amen. Yehet shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam l'omei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudusha b'richu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, Amiran ve'alma ve'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. You can all have a seat. We're going to just wrap up here. Before I hand it back to Derek to bring a close, I actually want to ask everybody to just take that breath. The word ruach in Hebrew means wind. It also means breath, and it also means spirit. In its wisdom, this language understood that breath and spirit and wind all mix together. So as we take these deep breaths, recognize that Whitney's spirit is here. It's amongst us. As we leave this place, may we bring Whitney's memory with us. We remember her laughter. May we remember her kindness. May we remember the love she gave and the love she inspired. And may we honor her life by living our own life with a little more courage, a little more gratitude, and a little more love. We're going to let this candle keep burning after we go, because her light doesn't leave when we do. Now I'm going to say, Zichrona livracha. May her memory be for a blessing. Derek?
It's beautiful. There's been many themes that have been thrown out today, but they all seem to be the same themes about love, about Whitney, and remarkably, how much have we been speaking about nature? Nature is incredibly important to all of us. That's how we get back to reality. That's how we get back to spirituality. And if you think about it, I do view life like a river or a mountain. And when you're going through a river and a mountain, just like with Whitney not being here, the river will always change. It will be different, and so with mountain every single time you go through it. And there are rapids, and there are peaks, and there's danger, but you go through these things in order to reach tranquil waters and a beauty that's so beautiful that you can't even put it into words. What I want to say to the Felder, Allen, and Solman family, that the most important thing you can do is to feel compelled to go to the river or to the mountain every single day, because that is life. And you're never alone, just like Mark indicated. Whitney will be with you. But I want you all to take a look behind you, because when the two of you need more support, we will be there to help you get through all those times. It's very important. You guys are all very much loved by us. We understand that life is precious. We need to understand that we don't take things for granted, and that the conversations with Whitney will continue. Whitney is not in the past. We don't get over Whitney. Whitney is a very important part of our future. Whitney will be at every celebration. Whitney will be with us when we go to bed, in our dreams, and when we wake up. You have to just be open to the conversations. And it's not a one-way conversation, it's a two-way conversation. We're not done growing. Our love with Whitney will continue, and we just need to be accepting of it and take it all in. We love you guys so much. Please know that we are always here for all of you. With that being said, it is the Felder and Allen's honor to have everybody here outside. There's going to be a loop of a beautiful 10,000 pictures of Whitney, worked on by a fantastic force of people. And if you can go ahead and please take your chair and bring it outside, because there's no chairs outside, we would greatly appreciate that too. Please, today, in Whitney's name, go and meet somebody you haven't met, because everyone here is very special, and they're special for a particular reason. That's because we're all filled with the love of this family. Love you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord, but you don't really care for music, do ya? It goes like this, the